Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we have the latest from the live radar. Run for the latest UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as we are in a very unsettled spell now to end May, something we've not seen in many weeks. All are going to be seeing some heavy rain over the coming days, some thunderstorms and heavy showers in places, and some very variable temperatures as well. On top of that, we could even see some gusty winds at times. It's not going to be the main hazard, but they are going to pick up much stronger than they've been over the past few weeks. As we progress into the longer range, we are seeing signs that high pressure is going to try and nudge in from the southeast, but as we have alluded to over the past few days, in combination with low pressure still trying to push off the Atlantic, we are going to see a squeeze of those isobars. Warm, humid air is going to waft northwards, and we could see not only warmer, maybe even hotter temperatures at times, but we could see quite a few thunderstorms. Lots of energy around, lots of triggers with that low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, and yeah, it could be pretty lively there as we end May and start June. Of course, still a little bit out of the range to look at it in too much detail, but we'll look at it further in the second half of the video. So to remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Now, to start on the live radar, as you can see, another wall of rain is heading in at the moment. We'd seen heavy rain last night, and tonight we're going to see further heavy rain. Now, the good thing about this is it's coinciding with nighttime. So for most, the heaviest of this rain is falling during nighttime hours. Of course, not for all. We are seeing heavy rain here for much Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, heading into western parts, but in central and eastern areas it's been not too bad today. Some sunshine earlier on, still feeling warm, but we can see the rain is now heading in. You can see further northwards, got a little bit more energy around. We've got quite a big, chunky, warm air mass within this, a warm sector, and that is fueling some of those heavy showers and storms in the north. And you can see it through Northern Ireland, some brighter colours, and even a few thunderstorms there across eastern Scotland. Now, do put on the temperatures, recording this around 7 p.m. You can see ahead of the weather front, it's actually still pretty mild. Temperatures hovering around the high teens, maybe low 20s, but it is going to change over the coming hours as we do see weather fronts sweeping through. Now, if you head over to the latest UKV now, you can see all of that heavy rain spreading through this evening. Lots of heavy, thundery rain in the north continues through Sunday morning. But fortunately, majority of this rain clears by sunrise. And we can see, yes, a bit of cloud, a few bits and bobs of rain. But generally speaking, Sunday's going to be drier through the morning. Showers will pick up during the afternoon. Again, heavy, thundery in places, and really focused in those northern and western areas closest to the centre of the low pressure. Now, you can see beyond that into Monday, it's pretty dry through Sunday evening, but it doesn't last all too long. As we head towards Monday lunchtime, we start to see cloud picking up from the west and start to see more persistent rain moving in. It's going to set the theme there for Monday evening, with heavy rain again moving in from the west, being pretty persistent during the evening for eventually clearing. For Tuesday morning, again brighter, but then again another spell of rain moving in from the west, and that's going to give a really soggy afternoon for Tuesday in the west and overnight hours further eastwards. And then into Wednesday, we see another big weather front clearing the southeast, and then potentially again seeing lots of heavy rain arriving again through Thursday morning. So you can see again lots of spells of rain, lots of heavy showers, and just, yeah, generally pretty horrible conditions. It is going to be choppy and changing. We are seeing different sort of sizes in these weather fronts, intensities and timings between the different runs, but those are just the rough timings we've got at this stage. They are, as I said, subject to change, but you can see it is going to be very up and down. Just hopefully, if you have got any plans, you can catch one of those short but dry windows that we are going to see in the coming days. Now, if you look at the max temperatures, you can see this afternoon, it's at 20 degrees in the east, much cooler further westwards. And as we head into Sunday, it's a similar story. Still warmer in the east, but much cooler in the west, where those cold westerly winds are pushing in only low teens there. Into Monday, again, temperatures pretty poor, more widely into the mid-teens, still 17 or 18 in the east, but generally speaking much cooler. And Tuesday is a similar story in the west, but again just holding on to some slightly brighter, warmer conditions in the east. As we've seen, majority of the rain, especially for the east, is going to coincide with overnight hours. That's why those temperatures by day are still a little bit on the warmer side. Into Wednesday, similar story, and the same can be said for Tuesday, but again slightly cooler there because a bit more in the way of cloud. So generally speaking, temperatures are going to be very up and down, best in the east, worst in the north and the west, but again it's all going to be to do with the rainfall and the cloud. Of course that's going to be higher in the west, but it's not exclusive. So yeah, we'll just have to see those exact details over the coming days. Still a bit of chopping and changing to do, but you can see the general theme of unsettled on and off rain is going to be there for much of the next 4 or 5 days. Beyond that though, we could be seeing a change for the final couple of days of May and early June. You can see that westerly flow pushing in at the moment, but later on next week we do see high pressure nudging in from the south. But it's not dominating. What we see is low pressure from the west, high pressure to the east, squeeze producing southerly winds. You can see this warm airflow heads northwards, and that combination could produce some quite lively conditions, to say the least. Temperatures by day potentially into the high 20s across Europe. UK though only 20 degrees, and that is because we've got high levels of Cape developing at times, and this is going to fuel heavy showers and storms, as we can see here, into early June. So it's one to keep a very close eye on. We're expecting it to chop and change between different runs. This run doesn't look quite as energetic as prior runs, but that is expected. We are going to see those movements. But yeah, last couple of days of May, early June, could see some big, lively storms with that warm, humid air moving in. Beyond that, we do see the Atlantic unlock once again, but it's not dominating. The low pressure is close by, but eventually it gets shoved to our south. And towards the end of this run, we're set up another very hot and thundery pattern. Slightly different orientation. This is perhaps more lively for a more widespread area, and that's because the low sinks southwards, allowing very hot air to move around the east of the weather front. So it's actually coolest further southwards. And again, if we do zoom in, you'll be able to see there is quite a lot of Cape once again within that warm airflow, and we'd expect to see again further storms there towards the end of this run. We can see the precipitation, lots of heavy showers and storms spiraling in within that warmer air mass, and yeah, it could be very lively not only for the UK but for parts of northern Europe as well. So yes, could be again up and down, variable conditions early June, but definitely looks like there could be multiple spells of not only warm and humid but very thundery and lively weather. If we do compare to the GM, broadly similar over the coming days, westerly flow. Eventually we see that uplift in the high pressure to our southeast there for the end of May. But again, it's that combination of low to our west, high pressure to our east, drawing up a very warm southerly wind. And again, if we do zoom in, you can see this combination is going to produce lots of heavy showers spiraling in under this low pressure system, and we'd expect it to again be really quite lively. It is still going to be warm. If we actually look at the 2 meter temperatures here, low to mid 20s is possible. Again, it will depend on showers and cloud, but it could be really quite humid and warm there to end May and start June. It's just not going to be dry, unfortunately. There will be, bits and bobs of dry weather around, but always the risk of triggering some hefty storms. And finally, if we compare to the ECMWF, broadly very similar, that westerly flow continued to push in. Again, that combination between the high pressure to our south, low pressure from the west there into late May. Not as quite as thundery here, and that is because if we look at the upper air temperatures, that warm air doesn't get as far northwards. So although, yes, it will still be unsettled, lots of heavy showers, maybe not quite as explosive with not as much warm air involved. And right towards day 10, still seeing a very unsettled pattern developing with low pressure rattling in off the Atlantic. So regardless of exactly how thundery or humid it gets, it is looking pretty unsettled to end May and start June as well. And we could see this on the latest ensembles if we quickly refresh it. Again, you can see up and down over the next week, but a bit of a spell there, late May, early June, when we're looking a good 3 or 4 degrees above average. That's where we could see those storms with more humid air, and beyond that stays unsettled, but staying again slightly above average. We can see the sea level pressure is a little bit all over the place, but generally hovering between slightly lower pressure, slightly higher pressure. Again, this is for London, so closest to that European high. Of course, it'd be more biased towards lower pressure, further northwards and westwards. Dew points as well can be very up and down. But you see where those warmer air masses arrive for the end of May. Dew points more again into the double digits. They are quite warm at the moment, and that's why it feels quite humid out there, and that's why there are some storms further northwards. We have actually got quite a lot of energy around at the moment, but it is a temporary warm sector, whereas this is a bit more persistent there, late May, early June, before it does settle down back towards kind of 7 or 8 degrees there longer term. If we do compare to the ECMWF, just to finish off, again, broadly very similar, hovering around average, slightly above and below in the next few days, and then a bit more above there towards the start of June, and then again hovering in and around average. So lots of variable temperatures here, up and down precipitation, and yeah, ECMWF just definitely giving off that kind of wild vibe there to end May and start June. Could be some drier, warmer days, could be some horrible rainy days like we're going to see in the next few days, and also could be some explosive days with storms and lots of lightning and hail and thunder around. So again, still lots of chopping and changing. I think it's one of these sort of scenarios where anything really outside that 3 or 4 day time frame, it's up for debate. Lots of chopping and changing expected. So don't believe anything too far out in the future in terms of details. We know the rough patterns, so those details are going to be really difficult to pinpoint at this stage. And as I said, we'll just have to wait and see what the high resolution runs do have for that end of May, early June point. I do think it is going to be pretty fascinating to see. There could be, as I said, lots of stuff going on, some high temperatures, but also some very unsettled conditions as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.